Good morning, everyone. A friendly reminder that we will be starting in 5 minutes. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this Teams Fundamentals training. My name is John. I'm going to be leading today's virtual session, and I'm joined today by Shane and Roxy, who's also going to be monitoring our Q&A session as well. If you guys would like to introduce yourselves as well, go for it.
Hello, my name's Shane. I am a service advisor at the Microsoft Store in Pentagon City, and I'll be here to answer your questions if you have any. So feel free to put them in the chat.
Perfect. Let me make sure I'm not muted. Awesome. So we're going to be reviewing Microsoft Teams and how you can utilize this application in your day-to-day workday, and how we can provide a much more efficient way to go on with communicating with your team, as well as collaborating with your team as well. But what is Microsoft Teams? Microsoft Teams is a essential hub for teamwork within Office 365, which utilizes Office 365, that comes with bringing together the people, information, and applications that you use every day to achieve more. The nice thing about Microsoft Teams is how we're able to collaborate and communicate seamlessly. We have a single place for your teams to meet around a unified objectives, with ease of access to the applications they use to be more productive in their roles. We're also going to showcase in this demo how we're able to utilize voice and video meetings to bring the team together in real time as well. Because our file system within Teams is built on top of SharePoint, we have a way of having all of the files that matter within one place. Teams mitigates common workplace issues like document versioning confusion, as well as permissions issues by housing and sharing your files within the cloud. And not only does bringing all of the files matter as well, but also bringing all of your tools into one place matters as well. We're also going to showcase how utilizing first-party applications of Microsoft alongside any third-party solutions that may or may not be available within your tenant. We're going to be able to see how we can use those within each hub that centralizes your workflows as well as communications. Moving forward, we have how Microsoft Teams will impact your organization. We like to go by the 3 C's. Within this demo, we're going to see how we're able to communicate through chat, meetings, and calls, as well as collaborate together with integrated Office 365 applications, and then customize your workplace and achieve more, and see how we're able to customize our own applications to make them our very own. But another C that I also like to throw in there is centralized. The great thing about Microsoft Teams is how centralized everything is when we have communication, and then we also have the collaboration of Microsoft Teams. We're also trying to see how we're able to minimize the alt tabbing to different programs. We want to minimize that as much as possible to make sure that, again, everything is centralized in one application. Moving along from just how great of, just a chock full of features that Microsoft Teams has, we also have a great cross-platform experience available within different types of platforms. We have desktop, mobile, and web. Available for Windows 7 and up, as well as Mac OS 10.10 and up. Both current to date iPhone and Android phones, as well as the new Edge and Chrome web browsers for anyone who wants to access Teams through the web as well. And give me one moment. Let me go ahead and switch over to our Teams demo tenant. What we're going to use is the web version. Let me see if I'm going to make it just a bit more zoomed in. I don't think I can do it from here. Yes, I can. There we go. I just want to make sure we're all able to see. Yes. Shane, does this look good on screen, or do you think I should make it back a bit more? I think this one will help.
I usually put it about like 90%.
Gotcha. Oh, you do 90%. I am at 125. I think this, because I just want to make sure everyone's able to see in case the stream gets blurry, because I know sometimes we do get some spikes or some dips in performance from time to time. Perfect. I think this will do. But So this is Microsoft Teams. This is the web version. What's great is if you're using the new Edge or if you're using just regular Google Chrome, you can install the web version of Teams as an application on your computer if you would like to. And I'm talking about on Windows 10 for on Windows 10 for PCs. I'm not sure if you can do it on Mac OS, but I know you could do that through the web version. If you would like to have it as an application, just so that we can have it emulated into one app, as if you're using another application. It's a neat trick. But here is just what Teams would look like. Right now I'm in the light mode. We have different modes. If you people who like dark mode or would like it in high contrast mode, we'll be able to. I'll be able to show you how to do that. But on the left-hand side here, we have a tab menu, as I like to call it. From here is where you're going to able to navigate through right over here. Where you're able to navigate through applications like chat, access your calendar, go through Teams. This is where you're able to pin and unpin any applications. But as you can see, when I hit the more options or the ellipses here, I'm able to pin even more applications by hitting the right click. I'm able to pin them here to also shift or switch them around if you would like to. It's only supported on the desktop version, but you're able to customize, like I've reiterated on how we're able to customize utilizing the 3Cs in Microsoft Teams, how we're able to just change around how we would like our applications to be located in. But I'm going to unpin this one. Here on the bottom, we have another way of accessing more applications that are available within Teams. This may or may not be available depending on what's approved or not in your Microsoft environment, or I'm sorry, in your Teams environment. The next tab also comes to if you would like to look over any topics or any training on how to use Teams. This is available when you hit the Help tab here on the bottom. What's neat is that when we click on topics, you can search any type of help articles or any topics within Teams that you would like to learn about. And there's neat little links here on how you would able to do so as well. When we click on the next tab here, that's on the top part of this tab menu. When we hit training, you're able to look at quick videos as well on how to go on about in Teams, from going through the basics to customizing your team to what teams and channels are. This is available whenever you are in Teams. Honestly, whenever you're free or whenever you want to learn more about Teams, that's available for you here. Any patch notes or anyone interested in patch notes, anyone interested in any new features that comes in Teams, look at this. We got a new update not too long ago where we can announce when callers join a meeting. Neat. So meeting organizers now have the option to announce when callers join or leave a Teams meeting, so you always know who is in your online meeting. This is something I've voted on as well, because I've always was interested in how when we'll ever get a little notification when people join meetings or when they leave meetings. Maybe a ping notification, maybe a little message notification, or a little indication just to serve as some sort of announcer. And I'm glad that they finally added that. So Microsoft is always listening on feedback, is always asking for anyone to suggest a feature that they would like to see in Teams. And if anyone interested in looking at the forums to where we vote on features for Teams, you can also go ahead and vote, because Microsoft will also choose the ones who have the highest votes when it comes to what will be baked into the next patch. So all of that will be available here for you guys to check out. But the first tab that we're going to be looking at is chat. It's going to be on the top here. This is where all of our one-on-one and group messaging is going to happen. If we look here on the left panel, this one's going to be very similar to when we also navigate to other applications like Teams per se. I believe this sort of layout is only going to be on the Teams. And when I mean layout, this is just where all of our group chats are going to be organized. So right now, as you can see, I have my recent group chats and one-on-one chats, as well as meeting chats, and we'll review the differences on that here as well. But here I have my recent chats, and here I have any pin chats that I have. Maybe I have anyone that I'm communicating with frequently, or I have any group chats that I'm in that I'm collaborating with frequently as well. I can go ahead and either click on the more options or right click to bring up more options on how I could move around or manipulate this group chat in one way or another. But let's say, for instance, as you can see, some are bolded and some are not. This is an indication, meaning, okay, I can see that I have not checked this group chat because I can see I muted it. There's a little bell with a cross over it. The way I was able to do that, it was by hitting the ellipses or the more options, and right here I was able to mute. Just as a I would say just as an announcement per se, there is no way to delete chats in one way or another. The only way you are able to say remove them from your visibility or just hide them, which is this option right here. I'm only able to hide messages, and once I do so, it will go away. But if somebody were to say share a document, if they were to send a message, if they were to do any sort of communicating or collaborating in that group chat, it will pop up here again. So the only ways you are able to do so as a means of just getting rid of them would just be by muting and then hiding the message. More options that you do have is just by checking applications that you have baked into the group chat. So if you do have any tabs that you have created where you're utilizing, and we'll go over that shortly, you're able to manage them from the more options here as well. Any group chats that you're joined or that you're added to, you're able to leave them as well. So if you don't want to be a part of them, by all means, you are able to leave them. But let's go ahead and look up the top here is where we'll be able to also look at our contacts. Any favorites that we have pinned here will populate over on this menu as well. When we go back to our recent conversations, we have a way of filtering when we hit that funnel. But then when we hit the more options here, we have a way of filtering them by, say, unread messages, meetings, or even just muted conversations as well. One thing I like about Teams is little emblems that they've created as a way as a means of indication. So as you can see, there is a calendar here. This indicates that this is a meeting group chat. So I scheduled a meeting. It was called I believe I scheduled this meeting, or Shane scheduled this meeting. I believe. Let's go ahead and check that. Who organized it? Yes, Shane organized it. Let's close that. Shane organized this meeting, and everyone joined it. Now, when everyone joins it and people talk within that meeting, when we access the chat within a meeting, and I'll show you guys how to use that as well within this demo, it creates a separate group chat, and it creates this little emblem, meaning that it is a meeting group chat. And then here you're able to go back. You're able to go back to any tabs that were attached here, like access the files that were shared, access the meeting notes, as well as the whiteboard even. And then also you're able to check, just like in another group chat, who is a part of this meeting or who joined this meeting, as well as the ability to add people as well. But let's go to another group chat. Let's go to just a regular group chat here that I pinned, and we'll hide these recent just so that we can tidy up this this menu so that nothing is just looking so overwhelmed. Let's just get everything organized here. When we click on this group chat here, and I look at the top, here I have a little, I would call it a header, is where I'm able to access the files here when I click on the Files tab, as well as add a tab for any popular first and third party applications that I would like to have for quick access. This is the same as when you go on, when we move into channels as well. Let's see. Let me remove this. But then say if I want to, depending if I'm on a one-on-one conversation here with just Shane, or if I'm in the group chat itself, when I click on these two icons here, if I want a video or if I want to audio call someone, it will call every single person that's in the group chat, or it will, you know, just as if you were just wanting to call someone. When I click over on Shane, it will call someone as well. But let's say if I wanted to add someone into this group chat, or if I wanted to remove anyone here, when I click on the X, I'm able to boot people out of this group chat. When I click on the add people, what's nice is that I'm able to include a certain amount of chat history. So if I'm in a group chat and this conversation does collect some history, and there is a very, very long amount of collaboration and file sharing, there is a way for you to remove access to certain individuals as well as new individuals that you would not like others to be able to access. So there's a way of privacy in a sense when it comes to this sort of these sort of options. So you do have a way of minimizing what others may see if you have the or if you have the needs to. We'll cancel that. Here, this icon right here, I'm able to change the group chat. I'm able to change the name of this group chat. So we'll just call it group 2. And say, for instance, any sort of edits that I do make in the group chat, any sort of additions of people that I make, it will make timestamps here. As you can see, I myself changed the name of this group chat to group 2 whenever I do change something in that nature. When we look to the bottom here, this is where we're able to type messages, of course. Hello to this group chat. If I want to talk to Shane, actually, I just want to talk to this individual here. Hello, Shane. Good morning. And another way you're able to, say, for instance, try and get people's attention within this application is by mentioning people. When I hit Shift and the number 2, this app symbol, this icon appears where I'm able to type in someone's name and then from there mention someone. And as you can see, when I send messages and somebody reads it, there is read receipt, enabled here. And as you can see, he reacted to my message. So this is another way for you to acknowledge messages instead of typing messages of acknowledgement. You're able to just react to these messages as well. If I hover over the message, it will bring this little this menu here where I'm also able to click on the more options to look at how I'm able to manipulate my text within this conversation as well. So when I click on the if I click on the more options here, I'm able to save my message, and I'll show you how to check where all these saved messages are. I'm able to edit my message and delete my messages from here as well. If I were to delete this message, there will be a message here indicating that somebody has deleted this message. Within Teams, there is always a level of transparency. Another way you're able to, say, for instance, go within the options of this text is marking if you would like this message to be marked as unread. If you would like to share it to Outlook or activate the immersive reader, this is where you will do so as well. When I go back to the text box here and I click on the little letter here with a paintbrush, this is where I'm able to format my messages. So if I wanted to, for instance, create a list for, just click on, oops. If I wanted to create a list for Shane, may be hungry. Make sure to tie your shoes. If I just wanted to make lists or if I wanted to format my text in any way, this is where I would do so when I hit this option here. Clicking on the more options over here will let you format your message in other ways. But it's very straightforward and very similar to as if you were sending an email. Looking over here, when we click on this little exclamation point, depending where you're sending a message, if you're sending a message in channel, if you're sending a message in a group chat, this option may not be available. It may be available in some environments, it may not be available in others. Depending on how your environment is set up, this option may not be available. But when I do click on this option, this is where I'm able to send messages labeled as important. When I click on this option, this little edge will appear, this red edge will appear on the left-hand side, as well as an important title on the top of your message. This is an important message. So you can be like, audit is coming up. We need to get ready. And if I want to really show my emotion in this message, when I click on the GIFs here, the GIFs, I can go ahead and send this message like this. And from there, this is how we're able to keep conversations a little more active and a little more alive. Let's go ahead and send any stickers, gifs, or memes or emoticons as well. If you would like to send a little more vibe in your conversations, like we can go ahead and send this emoticon if it would like to. But going back to the delivery options, here's where we're also able to send messages as urgent. So I would also use this with caution because, well, to start off with, this may also not be available. But if it is available, use with caution, as you can see, because it can notify the person every 2 minutes for 20 minutes. And if that person does not acknowledge the message, an email will be sent as well. A way for the person to get rid of that urgent message if somebody, per se, were to accidentally send the message, you would just have to acknowledge the message, and then from there, it will stop. Moving on to the paperclip here, here's where I'm able to attach any files from my OneDrive or locally from my account. If I go back here to the Files tab, there will be a document here already for me to check up on. So what's nice is, say for instance, if your chat history becomes very, very long over time, and nobody would like to, say for instance, go all the way up and look for a file that they've been looking like they probably sent about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Nobody's going to want to do that. Another way you're able to navigate through files is every conversation, every group chat, meeting chat itself, a files tab will automatically be created. It's created by default, so any sort of collaboration, there will be a means of keeping version history within Teams and, well, yeah, keeping all edits synced within Microsoft Teams. So if I did want to check up on that file that I sent maybe 3 weeks ago, I would go back here and do so as well. When I click on this file, what's going to do is that it's going to open the Word Online version, the web version of Microsoft Word, and it'll open it in Teams. And as you can see, I have a document here that I've been editing with Shane for a while now. And as you can see, he also has this document open, and I can go ahead and go to any location that he is within this document if I would like to see what he's editing on. And as you can see, also when I hover over this little cursor, it shows where he is on this document, and it also shows his name. So any real-time collaboration may happen, but when it comes to real-time collaboration, there are a means of limitations as well to the service. Within Microsoft Word, the limitations are where you're not able to edit within the same paragraph. In PowerPoint, you are not able to edit the same slide, and then with Excel, you're not able to edit within the same cell. But other means of collaboration, you're still able to do as well. But looking at the top here, here I'm able to quickly access any comments made within this document, as well as bring up the same chat history that we were looking at when I was in the chat tab here, looking at Shane's conversation. As you can see, these messages that I just sent to him, it brings all of that chat history into one tab as well if you need to communicate with someone here as well. I do love how it doesn't make any copies of anything. You don't have to navigate through copies of conversations. Any history that is made with someone, that's why I believe they don't make that delete option available, just so that they keep everything available just in case somebody needs to go back a certain amount of time to look at a conversation or whenever that was. But it's great that we do have that option as well. Now that is it for just what co-authoring, like what we'd like to call it. That's what is available for co-authoring as well. And now, if you can see, if for instance, this document here that we worked on, if it's a document that you find yourselves working on very frequently, a way that you're able to quickly pin that in this conversation is by clicking on this little plus icon, and from here you're able to set any sort of file from Office 365 to PDF files. You're able to quickly pin that on the top here, so that when I click on, say, this Word document, instead of having to go to the files and then clicking on that document, I can just click on this tab, and then from there work on the document from the tab itself. Those options will be available. As you can see, it even still shows those icons of him being on this document. And as you can see, my comments are right here, and even the ability for me to open the document in a browser or in the desktop version of Word. If you would like to access the version history of Word, people are interested in version history keeping. They want to make sure that they're able to quickly access any archives of edits made from other people. The only way that you're able to access the version history of documents is by going to the desktop version. It's only available in the desktop version, not the web nor the version within Teams, for you to check on that version history, just for a heads up. But any questions or anything that they'd like me to go over again with it, or about Microsoft or the chats per se, because just to go back, just would like to make sure everyone can see these options that are available below, because another thing you're able to do as well, if you do have certain applications, say for instance like the weather, that you're able to add in Microsoft Teams, you're able to send weather updates. So if I wanted to click, say, just type in some zip code, I'm able to quickly send anyone that is interested in weather updates. I'm able to send, say for instance, the weather if I have that app enabled. If I wanted to send stock information to someone, I'm able to do that here. But going back on the features here, I'm able to schedule meetings from this tab as well. One thing that you will find, and one thing that you may find trouble finding advice on, maybe, I'm not sure, but it's going to be that you're able to do a lot of the same stuff in different ways, and a lot of different ways, because say for instance, if I wanted to call someone, if I wanted to call Shane right now, I could just click on this icon right here and call him. Or since I checked out the keyboard shortcuts that are available in Microsoft Teams, if I selected Control E and then typed /chat and then type Shane, or no, I didn't want to talk to Arthur, I want to talk to Shane. From here, I'm able to send Shane a message, or I'm able to, I'm able to call Shane if I would like to from here as well. You'll find that the little tasks like these, little commands like these, ways that you're able to navigate through applications, you'll find that you're able to do the same things in different ways. And then when we do click on this option, it will bring up the same prompt as if you were creating a meeting in a channel. If you were creating it in another group chat, it will give you the same layout here when you're creating a meeting, just like how it looks very similar as if you were to do so in Outlook. When you type in all of your required attendees in this meeting, you're able to also add optional attendees if you would like to. So I will make, let's see, let's make the system administrator an optional attendee. And then here, as you can see, we can make, this is where you schedule when you would like to make it, where you would like to make it, if you would like to repeat this meeting, and then any sort of details for this new meeting. If you would like to add links to any documents, you could do so here. Maybe you have an agenda that you would like to post prior to the meeting happening. You're able to post links here so that when people click on those links, they can maybe open the file on their phones. If they're accessing Teams on their phone, it'll open the application or the document wherever they're trying to access it from. Say, for instance, I added these individuals in this chat here. Or not in this chat, sorry, in this meeting. When I click over into the scheduling assistant, this is where I'm able to get a little bit of a view of what everyone's day is looking like. This is a means of me accurately pinning when I would like to make this meeting happen so that everyone is available to join this meeting. And as you can see, as I hover this this little column indicator here, it shows that 4 out of 5 people are available to attend this meeting. The reason, because it's for, as you can see, Joni here is not available, or her attendance is unknown right now. So it looks like everyone's able to attend at this time, so I'll leave it at, what time is it? 11:45 to 12:15. Actually, no, that's a little awkward. Let's do it for 11:30. So we'll leave it at that. As I said before, doing the same thing different ways. Here I'm able to add any required attendees or optional attendees as well from this from this column here. When we hit send, this is going to post that meeting on April 20th at 10 or at 11:30. So once that meeting is posted, from there, when I go over to my calendar, that meeting is going to be able to be found here. When I click on the calendar and then I click on this purple row here, it's going to take me to the meeting where it will let me still edit the meeting since it hasn't happened yet, or join from here as well. As you can see, chat, files, meeting notes, and whiteboard have automatically been created as tabs for this meeting. You have your meeting icon here that's very similar, and as you can see, let's go ahead, let's hit restart, actually no, just so that we can see that chat. This chat is for the meeting we just posted, so that we can see that. I send this, I go to chat, click on recents. Because I didn't title this meeting, as you can see here, it made that separate group chat for the individuals that I invited. It invited optional attendees as well for this group chat. But it's very straightforward to what chat is. All it really is just it houses all of your one-on-one conversations, as well as your group chats, any sort of group chats from ones that you were invited to, that you create, or that are from meetings. I believe I showed where you create new chats is from this pencil icon here. Here's where you're able to add people from emails, from names, any groups, or tags. For anyone who isn't familiar with tags, tags are at mentions that groups many individuals at a time. So if I have 10 people that are in my finance department, if I have 10 people that are in my retail department, I can create at mentions, I can create at retail and at finance, and I can house those 10 individuals in those separate departments in their appropriate tags. And for instance, if I'm posting a message or if I'm posting an announcement and I just put the at finance mention, that tag is going to mention those 10 individuals that I attach to it. That's just a quicker way to mention a lot of people if you would like to organize your way of communicating in that order. I'm going to showcase also how you're able to edit tags within channels as well once we go over to that. But I just want to make sure, Shane or Roxy, that if there's any features within chats or if there's any questions that I could answer right now, by all means, let me know. Let me just grab this.
I think we're good right now. Just make sure when you do eventually go more in depth into the calendar and scheduling the meeting, you show what it's like to do it from Outlook as well.
Yeah, perfect. You got it. So now, let's see. Here's where we're going to get into a little bit more of a dense topic, and that's with Teams. Since there is a little bit of confusion on how people utilize channels and then how people utilize group chats. It really comes down to preference and privacy when it comes to what's being shared and how many people you would like to see, what's being shared and what's being talked about. I believe that people like group chats of 5 people and below, those belong in group chats if you want to organize maybe a sort of project. You can do it in a group chat or you can do it in a channel, really, depending on how your process of creating, say, channels and teams are in your department or in your agency. The means of doing so may be different of how efficient that can be done, how that can be done. But as you can see here, just like how we saw in chats, this column here, where everything is organized in your chats, it's very similar here in your teams. So right here, these are just the names of teams that I'm a part of, that I created, that I joined by default because I'm a part of the organization. All of these teams will be available here for you to quickly navigate through in Microsoft Teams. Now, as you can see, some are bold and some are not. The ones that are in bold means that there is activity that I have not checked on. And if those activities include any important messages, there will be this icon here to indicate that there are important messages to check on. When I click on the caret here, it will let me hide hide the teams for now if I need to tidy up my my drawer here of teams. But when I click on this caret here, it's going to display the channels of this team. So to just to organize in a sense, what makes up teams is channels. So channels right here makes up teams, but then tabs here that you see make up channels. The same tabs that make up chats and group chats here, they make up channels as well. The difference is that collaboration and communication is now in a much more bigger scale. So now we're talking about, instead of those 5 to 10 people that are in a group chat, we're talking about hundreds, maybe even thousands of people that are a part of this teams. Shane, I'm not sure if you know the cap on like how many people are available or are able to join a team. I'm maybe confusing that 5,000 is the limit on who's able to join a team. I may be wrong, but you're able to add a good amount of people. Let's say, for instance, I wonder if I'm able to search it instantly here. I don't think it will tell me here.
Sorry, you are correct. It is 5,000.
Sweet. So 5,000 people is the limit for each channel or each team. Perfect. So we're talking now collaboration, now communication on a much more bigger scale. And now all of these posts are going to be very similar to as if you were looking at a social media application. Everything is organized by these rectangles here of just posts that people made, important messages, announcements that people made. As you can see, this header here with this giant text here, this is a announcement message, but is also labeled as an important message. And a way that I was able to make that important message or this announcement is when I clicked on the format and I clicked on new conversation, I was able to now select the announcement option. This is now where things are starting to look a little bit different if you squint when it comes to formatting, because now that I'm in a channel, if I have this option available for me from the admin of this team, I'm able to post announcements in this channel. And when I click on this, from now, this headline appears where I'm able to add a background or change the color of the header of my announcement, and then add a subhead. And then, of course, I'm able to mention people, as you can see from here, and then type my announcement as well. But channels are very multi-purpose. Channels can range from different topics upon the purpose of it being created. It can be around an objective. It can be around a project. It can be a department. It's really multi-purpose, and you have to find its means of being created. It's recommended for you to have more channels available and less amount of teams in your column. Over time, of course, when you have teams adopted and you have teams and you're using teams for years, you're eventually going to be a part of a lot of teams. But that's if you want to stay in those teams. You can leave them if you would like to at any time. Shane, do you know if you're able to leave org-wide teams? I'm pretty sure you're able to leave org-wide teams. I just don't want to get confused, because maybe those options could be selected as off on you to be able to leave certain teams.
I believe if something is an org-wide team, then everybody in the organization is always on it. You can hide it, but I don't think you can leave it.
Perfect. Just want to get that across. I don't want to lie. There may be that means of hierarchy, I suppose, or I may say. But it's very similar here as if I was chatting. So just be cautious of where you're typing in your messages, because you can get lost on where you're typing in your messages. So when I have my chats available here and then I have my teams available here, everything's going to look a little bit different. But I'm also able to still filter any teams or channels that I want to check out by typing it here. Doing so, again, selecting this funnel here, I can filter out through those channels. But say if I'm in a part of a lot of channels, if I'm say in the general channel a lot, if I'm a part of the healthcare department, so I'm always going to be in this channel when I need to communicate or send any sort of announcements. What I could do is I can pin these channels when I click on the right option, or the right click on my mouse, or the more options here. It's going to give me more this drop down menu where I'm able to pin the channel, and when I do so, it's going to populate here in the top From here, I'm able to click on this caret to hide or have the pinned channels appear. So now I can get a little bit more organized. So if I'm a part of just a lot of channels or a lot of teams, right, and I'm only really in now, say the general a lot. Let's say, for instance, in the disaster planning team, I'm a part of their healthcare department as well, so I'll pin that one as well. The COVID special projects. No, I'm not in there as a lot. I'm in the data analytics here, so we're gonna pin this one as well. So now that I had my, my pin, the channels that I'm in a lot, the ones that I'm going to jump into all the time, and I find out that I'm not really in a lot of these, so I don't really need to check up on them that frequently. I could hide, say, all of these teams, as well as just cutting up notifications, or maybe setting the notifications to only when I'm being mentioned, or if there's any important messages that are that are going to be made, maybe that I want to check on them. But if I just find myself that I'm in these channels a lot more, here I can just quickly navigate through through different teams and channels much more efficiently. This is just another way. This is a best practice just to keep everything tidy and keep everything organized as well. Within just to, as you can see, when I squint a little more, some posts will be a little bit different. So some posts don't have this little square here. And the reason for that is because this announcement that Marvin posted, this was posted in multiple channels as well. When I clicked on this option here, or no, not this option, when I hover over it, it will say that this post or this announcement was posted in multiple channels. And then welcome to training. Yep, announcement here. There's an indication here indicating that there is an announcement. But it's very just straightforward on how these posts are organized. One thing to notice as well, when you do want to reply to people, do click on this option here that's located below posts so that you can actually reply to the person and say hello. Instead of starting a new conversation, as you can see on the bottom here. This is what a reply looks like to someone's post. This is what a separate post looks like. That's what a separate post looks like. And you're still able to react to these messages as well. When you reply, you're also still able to add any sort of files, react to any sort of messages, like just as you were posting a new message. You still have a way of formatting as well as attaching something in replies as well. You're even able to still react to those replies if you would like to. Any sort of posts that you are the author of, you're able to edit them. And delete them as well, depending if that option is available for you, but you are able to do so as well. And then here are very similar options to messages that we were reviewing in chat. But when we go here back on this column here, let's go over just the right-click options that are available, or the more options when you select this, the ellipses here. I'm able to change the channel notifications of certain channels. So if I would only like for mentions, or for me to check on only mentions, or if I will only want this to show in my feed instead of receiving a banner, and a banner is just a purple rectangle that will appear on the bottom right of your desktop, as a means of notifications for anyone who's mentioning you. Any sort of activity that involves you will appear on this column here as well. I'm able to customize how I would like these notifications to appear on that option. Going back to the more options here is where I'm able to unpin as well as manage the channel if I'm the creator of a channel, or if I am given permissions of managing channels or teams, I'm able to do so here. Any permissions here, I'm able to turn off any moderation. So I can select if everyone is able to start a new post, or everyone except guests is able to start a new post. I'm able to do that from here, as well as look at the analytics over time of this channel if the options are available for me as a user. Going back to the more options, I have a way of getting a link to the channel if I would like to share it, as well as getting the email address of this channel. When I click on the get email, it's going to give me an email address for me to send a message to. When I copy the message and I go to say Outlook and I send a message to that email address, just to show you what it looks like, when I go to general, I think it was in general. it may not have been general. I just want to make sure. If you can't find it, I will show you guys what it looks like. So let's go to the hazmat and environmental team. What we're going to do is get the email address of that. Let me just go ahead and copy this. And then let me stop sharing. Give me one moment. Okay, hopefully you guys should see this border. Okay, there we go. So when I paste that that channel name, as you can see now, and the contact is going to appear here. This is the general channel. This is from the Hazmat and Environmental Program team. This is going to be posted in the general. As you can see, this is the name of the channel that I'm going to post into. Subject is going to be this post is an example. I am sending this from my Outlook. If I'm on Outlook, actually no. If I'm on Outlook, if I'm on Outlook, and I would like to send a message from here, if I need to post anything, if I'm not on Teams per se, if I send this message, and now if I go back, let me switch back over to Teams. Now, if I go back and I click on this, as you can see, there's a little email icon here, as well as my email address will post here, showing that there is now an email address that was posted to this channel. So this is a way for you to also download the original email, and I'm still able to also react to the message, react to the email if I would like to, and even reply to it, because now it created a an email address here or message, but as you can see, there's now a little border here indicating that you're only replying to the email address message. So it's only going to be visible at Teams. It's not going to be shown on the email address or the email, sorry. But this is but here it's very straightforward again on just what the layout looks like in the channel. Anything that was added will be found here, just like how we checked that out on the one-on-one group chats, or no, chats, and then as well as the group chats here, I'm able to look at the files tab. The only thing is here now, we're talking about the files that is built upon SharePoint. Here's where we're able to customize our file structure. Here's where we'll be able to add more files off of here as well. Shane, just to reiterate, could you go over the synced option? Because I know you went over it you went over it not too long ago. I don't want to give a subpar definition to this option specifically.
Yeah, so the sync option, what it'll do is it will take the SharePoint folder that houses all of the files within that channel, and it will give you that SharePoint folder on your computer synced through your OneDrive. And then any changes you make to the SharePoint folder from your computer will be reflected in the team itself. So if there's a channel that you're constantly uploading to and downloading from within Teams, you can sync it to your computer and you'll have access to it from within your file explorer.
Awesome. Thank you. So then another thing I'm able to do as well, let's go to the general channel of this one, right? And let's go to the files here. Well, just like in any other channel, you're able to open it within SharePoint as well when I click on the more options here. If I would like to, I can open in SharePoint. I can also add a cloud storage or add any document libraries from other SharePoint sites here in my files tab as well for quick access if I would like to. And then here, just like we saw in group chats and one-on-one conversations, I'm able to add more tabs and more applications and more PDF files or even websites as well. I'm able to do so in the channels that I am a part of here as well. But if I would like to join any teams or if I would like to create any teams, depending on your agency that you're a part of, the process of doing so may be different. But if there were any public teams that were available within my organization, it would populate in this empty or in this empty window that you see here. This option will allow you to create a team, both public and private. This option will allow you to join any team with a code that the admin of the team has provided or generated for you. You may do so on this option here. You're able to search any public teams that you would like to be a part of. Any private teams will show a lock symbol, just to show you what that looks like. If I go over to, was it this team? No, what was this team? As you can see, this finance channel, there's a little emblem here. This is indicating that this is a private team. You have to be invited to this channel in order to view anything that was made here. If I go over, where is it? When I click on this option, just to showcase, these options here are very similar to as if you were right-clicking on any of the channels here. So if I go to General here and I right-click, options of here are very similar. The only thing is if I were to click on this option, things like SharePoint will appear if you would like to open the channel in SharePoint. The only thing that it's going to showcase for you is because of Teams kind of being built on SharePoint with the file structure of it, you're able to view conversations as well as view your file structure or your document library of the channel from SharePoint as well, if you would like to do that. The more intermediate version or sessions of Teams that we have available or that we're going to be pushing out soon, we'll be going over as well how we're able to add document libraries from other channels from Teams into the ones that you're a part of, as well as how we're able to navigate and also manipulate file structures in SharePoint as well, and we'll be able to see how how it reflects on Teams as well. What's also nice, just talking about how services communicate with each other, we're going to move on to, or actually no, I'm not going to move on to that because there is one more thing that I did want to go over, and that is if you are a part of or if you have created a team, if you're an owner of a team, if you were added as an owner of a team, when we click on the manage channel here, this is where we're able to do some of the same options as if we were right clicking on the team itself. For instance, adding a channel or adding a member. As you can see, that option is available here. And as you can see, look at these little tips that Teams pops up from every now and then. Tags, for anyone who isn't familiar with tags already, this is just a reiteration of what we can do with tags. It's to notify a group of people all at once by mentioning a tag. Only owners are able to apply tags, however. But going back, we're able to add members as well as add channels from this settings menu here. I'm able to see who is the owner of the channel and who are the member and guests of these channels, as well as view their locations, tags, and change if I would like to make them a owner or demote them to a member. Moving on to channels, I'm able to add channels as well as check any channels that I would like available for me. So if I would like to have the channel hidden, as you can see, I would leave it as so. But if I would like to have the channel available to view for me, by doing so, we'll have that for me. But going on here to the more options, this is very similar to as if we were right-clicking here, just like I said, how we're able to do the same things just somewhere else. This one, however, I'm not familiar with. Share to displays. What does this do? I'm curious. I'm not sure what. Shane, are you familiar with this? I gotta look up, but this is new to me. That might have just appeared to me. I'm not sure. I wonder.
Yeah, I just looked in what's new and it doesn't say anything about that, but I haven't seen that option before.
Interesting. But I will look into that later as well. I gotta get back on that. Let me go back to the channel. If I'm the owner of it, I'm also able to look at overall analytics of my channel. Very straightforward, very compact. Love the UI. I love the user interface of Teams. It's very clean. It's very minimalistic in a sense, and I'm glad it's very accessible to users as well. The analytics provider here will able to show you over a certain amount of times, and they just added the 90 days. Nice. So if the channel is, I think this might be depending on the history of a channel, because I just saw this 90 days. Might be how long the history of the channel is, or no, they may have just added that, because as you can see, there has been no activity here, but we got some activity here now. Fantastic. Great stuff. So I'm able to look at multiple channels as well, for the analytics wise. I mean, so if I go click on all channels here, I'm able to look at what the overall activity is for these channels, for anyone interested in that. But then any applications that have been enabled in this Teams environment will be available to for you to uninstall here if you would like to. All of that can be done here, but if you would like to add any applications, if I click on the More Apps option, that part will be able to be done here. And then from here, you have your apps that are available in your environment to add. We do play nice with other third-party applications, because we always do want to make sure that everything is centralized, that everything is available for you all in one application, so that we minimize the navigation of different programs, of alt tabbing, so that we can spend more time working and collaborating with each other. But moving on to calls and files, they're very straightforward. With calls, you're able to add people in speed dial, as well as add new groups in speed dial for speed dial, and then from there you're able to call both audio and video call from here, and then click on the more options will allow you to chat instantly with those people in speed dial, or remove from speed dial. From the calls, I'm able to view my contacts, as well as add new contacts, and also check on the history of any incoming and outgoing calls. And then for any transcripts and voicemails, or even transcripts of those voicemails, will appear here. I'll even showcase briefly on how we were able to set up our voicemail as well. But then making a call will be found here. When I click on this option, I'm able to make any call to anyone within my organization, both video and audio call. Going into the files, here I'm able to check up on any recent files that I've worked on. You're able to see when was the last time they were modified, and even the location of those files. Clicking on the Microsoft Teams tab menu will showcase all of the files that are available for the teams that you're a part of. So this part will get pretty dense, and depending on how much data and how many files are available in each team, this process of having everything load may vary. So this is where it even showcases websites as well, and pictures. So this part will definitely get pretty populated, but you're able to organize them depending on what you would like to see. They're organized very accordingly, depending on what filters you would like to set, by clicking on the column headers as well. Moving on to OneDrive, this is for any cloud storages or any SharePoint sites that you would like to add. Oh, not SharePoint, sorry. This is just cloud storage. Any third parties that are supported in your environment will be able to be added here for quick access if you would like to check up on your files. But just to showcase how you're able to do the same thing another way, if I hit Control-E / and type in files, I can look for any recent files that I worked on just by typing the name like that instantly. It's great stuff like that you're able to do once you get familiar with the shortcuts and the commands. You're really able to fly through this, and I'll show you where to do so in a moment. But these two tab menus here are very straightforward. So if you did want to unpin any sort of tab menu options, you're able to do that by right-clicking on the selected app, and then clicking the unpin from there, just to clean up the menu by a bit. So let's go to calls, and then from there it'll disappear. But calendar is another one that I do want to review. This one is also very straightforward. Here on the top right-hand corner, I'm able to select the Meet Now, as well as new meetings if I need to schedule any meetings or live events as well. Any meetings that are currently happening, the join icon will appear. When I click on the join, it's going to take me to a little lobby, powder room, whatever you would like to call it. That will populate here, and then from there, I'm able to also select any dedicated peripherals, any preferred peripherals that I would like to use for my meetings, say per se speakers, microphones, any cameras. That can be done so on here as well before even joining the meeting. When I do join the meeting, it's gonna give a moment to connect, and then from there, I'm in the meeting, and these are the options below that are available for that. I can turn on or off my camera as well as my mic. This option will allow me to screen share. And what's nice about this screen sharing is where you have you're able to now like say share your whiteboard if you have whiteboard available or freehand. I'm not familiar with this is, but this is a third-party application that's supported for meetings. But these options may be not available depending on your environment. Just to point that out. But if you were to share, say, this PowerPoint, or if you were to share a document, but if you were then to Alt Tab while sharing that document, because you only selected a certain window that you only want shared, and you then moved over to other programs or other windows, it's still only going to show that window that you have there. It's not going to show any other windows that you tab out to. So that's a nice little feature there to keep in mind. Moving on to the more actions here, this may be available or not depending on your environment, especially this option here. This will allow you to record meetings and live events that you're a part of. And when you start the recordings, it will prompt a menu or prompt a window, sorry. It'll prompt a message to everyone a part of the meeting indicating that somebody in the meeting is recording. And all recordings are placed in the Microsoft Stream application, which is a first-party Microsoft application that is it's a video hosting app. So all of those recordings will be stored there. But this is where I'm able to also view any meeting notes if I'm taking any meeting notes. From here, the show participants, I'm able to look up anyone who has been invited to. I'm also able to invite others as well to this meeting. But then the meeting that's taken in place, I'm able to now quickly access the chat of this meeting. And it's nice to have that same chat brought back here. And as you can see, because I clicked on the meeting notes and created meeting notes, it created a timestamp and a message of somebody in the meeting notes tab. But then that's all the options that are available for just the calls. So I'm going to end this call. And then let's go ahead. Let's go back to the calendar. Here I'm able to view my week by the work week, by the regular week, by the certain day. Here I'm able to jump through the month and jump through the week that throughout different months of the year if I would like to, and then jump to today as well. And then let's see, that one is very straightforward as well. I just want to make sure, because we also have other applications like here for shifts, for instance, if managers are utilizing shifts in their team, I'm able to create team schedules and have tasks assigned as well by using Microsoft Planner. More intermediate courses of sessions that we will be providing will also go over on how we can use Planner and how we can also use forms as well in our day-to-day work. Wiki, this is very multi-purpose. This is very, very multi-purpose. You can find, this can be used as meeting or notes per se. This is my personal notes here. As you can see, this is a personal. I can take any notes here if I would like to. If I wanted to check out the wikis of other channels per se, because each channel has their own wiki, you can check out here as well. It's very multi-purpose. This can be for, say, in an education setting. A wiki can be used as a place to show a syllabus, for instance, right? This is really multi-purpose, and a lot of people will try and find ways of using it. It could be for whatever you would like to. But then, let's see. I believe that goes over it. Yeah, we have OneNote here available. When I click on OneNote, you can quickly access all of your personal notebooks and your sections, pages, all that good stuff. You can use OneNote from here as well. However, if you have a preference on using the desktop version because it can be more optimized for your computer, you can do so from there as well. But let's see, that's pretty much it for just the basic overview on each application on the tab menu here. Next, what we're going to get into, let's just go back here, is going to be the activities. We kind of show this for last just so that we can maybe add a little bit more into our feed throughout each session that we conduct. As you can see here, this is for any mentions that were done, or any activity that has that has yourself a part of. So for instance, anytime somebody has added you to a team, if you're made the owner of a team, if you're mentioned, if somebody's reacted to your messages, if you have any missed calls, all of that will be showcased in the activity tab menu here under the feed menu as well. You're able to also filter through your activity. So if you want to check out all of your unread messages, all of the times people have mentioned you, for instance, you could select the @mention symbol, and then from there, when I click on any messages here, it will instantly take me to that message and highlight in yellow what activity I'm trying to check out. And for any activities that I haven't checked on previously, it will still have labeled in bold, as you can see. So it's nice how it still does that. These little features, these little indications, it does so consistently throughout the application. For instance, like these bold indications that I haven't checked this activity out. So as soon as I click on that, it does not have this message in bold. And if I wanted to click on any other messages, it will still highlight in yellow and quickly jump to that message as well. I'm going to go ahead and click X on this and then maybe select all of the times people have reacted to my messages. So from here, I am now looking at all of the times Shane has reacted to my messages, when Arthur reacted to my message. And it gives these beautiful little minimalistic icons, minimal icons. I love it, of how these people have reacted to my messages. I can do so from here, and I can check up on all of my activity here. But if I did want to check on any activity that I have conducted myself, I can select the My Activity portion here, and I could, as before, jump to each post that I've made, or each time I've reacted, I believe, to people or replied to people as well. I can do so from here as well, and even filter through my activity. But now I wanted to come to this portion here a little bit more. The search bar or the command bar. When I click on the @ symbol, it's going to give me a list of contacts that I have communicated with previously or recently. But another thing that it does show you as well is how you're able to mention applications, say for instance, like the stocks, as you can see here, or weather, for instance. So if I did type in stocks from here, from the search bar, and I hit enter, it's now going to ask me if I have any tickers. Is it tickers, I think? Tickers. I'm not sure what the names of those calls, but I have any memorized. If I did want to check on a symbol for any companies on how the shares are doing, I can quickly access that information like that as well when I hit enter. I can do that from here as well. When I hit backspace, I can keep hitting backspace if I want to go all the way back to how I would like to conduct my search bar, how I would like to utilize it. So now, say for instance, if I wanted to set my status to do not disturb, so if I wanted to no longer receive notifications, I could quickly from the search bar do so as well. Hitting Control E will get me back to the search bar. So Control E / available will then set my status back to available, as you can see. Getting familiar with these commands and getting familiar with how you can navigate through Teams in this fashion, boom, you have another way of becoming a more power user of Teams and being able to get more familiar with how to work these little bells and whistles that Teams has available for you. Moving a little bit more now to how we're able to customize our Teams environment from a user standpoint. I'm able to set my online presence from this option here. Busy, do not disturb, or even reset my status will be done so here. I'm able to change my picture from this menu as well. And as you can see, it will also be updated in your Office 365 applications when you change this icon as well. Heading back over here, set status message. Here I'm able to mention anyone as well as show this status to anyone who is trying to get in contact with me. Maybe I'm away from the office and I want to let people know where I am. I can do so from the status message on here as well. Here I'm able to clear the status message if I did want to set any sort of time limit on when I want this on. If I'm on lunch, maybe I want to set it for only for an hour and let people know that I'm on lunch. I could do stuff from here and even set custom time intervals as well. Heading back, we have saved messages. So say, for instance, this Florida hurricane incoming alert here, this important message that's Arthur posted. I believe I saved this message. I have not. So if I did want to save this message, when I hit the more options here of the message, when I hover over it, I can save the message. And then from there, I believe a little icon is going to appear. Let's see. There we go. Showcases that this message has been saved, and when I click over to saved on the in the top right hand corner, it's going to take me to my saved messages and give me these little nice purple icons of all of my saved messages to go back towards. Next, we have where we're able to check out the settings in our team's environment. Here we're able to check out where we can set our different themes. So my favorite theme is dark mode because I love the choice of shade of black that they picked, as well as just how the purple looks with dark mode. It's my favorite. I love dark mode so much. But another thing you're able to do is also change the theme to high contrast if you would like to. But we're gonna keep it in default for now. On the bottom here, I'm able to change the app language of my application, as well as change the keyboard language of my application. And keep in mind that it also does override keyboard shortcuts. Heading over to privacy, if you do set yourself to do not disturb, there is a thing called priority access in Teams where if you add anyone in here, what it will do is if you do set yourself here, you will still receive notifications for anyone trying to call you, anyone trying to mention you, anyone trying to call, send a message to you. That will still be possible when you add certain individuals here. So let's add Shane, because I do want to make sure Shane has a way of getting in contact with me always. So we'll leave it with Shane as well. And then if you do want to have any blocked contacts, you could set yourself to always automatically block contacts that do not have a caller ID displayed. And then from here, you can even edit all of your blocked contacts. Read receipts can be turned on or off. Depending on your environment, this option may not be available because the admin may have read receipts on by default. Surveys, you're able to participate to any surveys that Microsoft Teams has available that provides to you. You can opt in or out of that option. Going to the notifications, I could customize how to receive certain types of activity. If I did want to only receive it as a banner, if I did only want it to show in my feed, I could do that from this menu as well. I can even change what kind of notifications, like role changes per se. I could have it only show up as my feed because I don't really want that populating in my email or in my inbox, because I don't want my inbox getting overflowed with just activity emails from Teams, because over time it will just start to look like spam. So if you did only want to have it as banners, by all means, I would recommend you to only have it as banner or to only show in feed. But I think I ignored this part. What it is like to share, oh no, what is it? What it's like to create a Teams meeting. A way that you're able to create a Teams meeting, I have my calendar here open, is when I click on this option here, new Teams meeting. When I click on this option, I don't think it's going to show on my screen, but just like how you create any other sort of event in your Outlook, it will do that same process. The slight difference being that it automatically generates a prompt for you. In the description, it gives you a link to I want to get this popped up here. It gives you a link to the meeting, and it also gives you a number here on the bottom. It gives you what number to call, and the conference ID number, or the pin here to call to get into this meeting, as well as the conference ID number. And then as you can see, the location is set to a Microsoft Teams meeting. If you intend to have people join into a virtual meeting in Teams, you have to select that create a Teams meeting option, that new Teams meeting in Outlook, so that people have a way of jumping into a meeting, and it will also populate into their calendars on Teams as well. Outlook and Teams communicates with each other in regards to calendars. You will not be able to check your email in Teams, but you will be able to jump to any meetings on your calendars that have been posted, or that you have been invited to, or that you have created as well. But we're gonna hit no, and then let's go back to our environment, and that's how you create a meeting through Outlook. Going back to settings, I want to make sure we go across everything. Notifications, yep, calls, perfect. We are able to configure our voicemail through here as well. Any answering rules can be done so in the calls submenu in the settings. If you would like to always forward your calls, or if you would like to let those calls ring, you can do so here. And even also have it sent to voicemail or not do anything at all if you would like to. You can set how long you would like it to ring. If you want to set it to a minute of ringing, go for it by all means. Configuring your voicemail will be done here, as well as setting the voicemail or the ringtones, as well as play testing those ringtones can be done so in the settings as well. If you have a means of communicating over a telephone line using text, you have a way of turning on this mode here. But then a way of checking any shortcuts for your platform will be done so here. This is just a great way, a great resource to make your navigation of this application a lot more efficient over time. You're able to also look at shortcuts for any other platforms that you may have Teams available on, as well as checking the Accessibility Center of Office. That link will be provided for you here as well. Clicking back over on this option, I have a way of downloading the desktop app, as well as giving me a link or a QR code of downloading the mobile app of Teams, but I also have another way of downloading Teams through this option as well. But this covers a very basic overview and just an essential part of utilizing Teams and getting and adopting this form of application as a means of communicating as well as collaborating with others. We definitely want to make sure that we empower individuals to utilize this as a way of just making everything much more efficient. We always want to make sure everything is much more streamlined, much more centralized, much more compact, just so that we don't have everything all over the place, just so that we have everything organized in a way for you to access quickly through this one window. We definitely want to make sure that we have a way of showing you how to utilize that. But we want to also dedicate the last 13 minutes of this session to any questions or any features that anyone would like me to go over. By all means, let us know if there's anything that you guys would like me to go over, but that will cover just the meat and potatoes of this session for today.
John, I don't have any questions waiting right now. If you just want to go over a couple of frequently asked questions.
Yeah, one thing to keep in mind is, for anyone interested in what's available on your environment and what isn't available, what Microsoft Teams will not do is it will not showcase any features that will have labeled maybe an X over it, or will be labeled as not available, something like in that nature. If you are just curious as to what is or what is not available, I would get in contact with your admin of your IT per se, or the admin of anyone who also conducts these or organizes these Teams training sessions. Get in contact with them to see if you are interested in that. But let me get out the FAQ in just a moment. Let's see. And also, if people are curious on creating certain teams, if they would like to create a team, depending on the agency that you're a part of, the process of doing so may be different. You may have to go through different people or different departments on how to submit a ticket on creating your team, but there is a process of doing so if your agency has that in place. Just like I reiterated before, you're not able to access your email from Teams. There still is a purpose of utilizing Outlook, and then there is a way of utilizing Teams. If you find yourself that you are getting in contact with anyone that is external of your organization, you would do so in Outlook. Teams is more of a way to collaborate with people within your organization and people within your team per se. Within your groups of people within your department, that's what Teams is for. For Outlook is for the opposite of that. The only thing, of course, is the calendar aspect of Outlook is what you're able to access within Teams. But what's nice is you're able to access OneDrive per se. Your OneDrive storage will be able to be done so within Teams. So all of your cloud storage needs can still be done so in Teams as well. We still want to keep that centralized aspect of it. The only thing, of course, is there is definitely still a purpose of utilizing Outlook. Outlook is not going away anytime soon. What is going away soon is Skype and Skype for Business. So we want to make sure that people are starting to now adopt this application to replace Skype for Business, because we also have features as well as improvements that's already baked into Microsoft Teams, and we have Skype for Business. That was a great way to implement all of those features already so that you can still keep that same aspect of Skype for Business in Teams. Let's see. When it comes to the differences between a team and a group chat, let me just reiterate. A group chat is the same way as a private one-on-one conversation, except that you're chatting with more than one person. Teams chat is a chat that is occurring within any team channel. This is called a team chat because all members of the team are able to read and respond to this chat. So we're just talking about a much more bigger scale of things, of communicating. That's what a Teams chat is. That's what it's done so in a channel, while group chats are much more smaller. But of course, I just let me just look up here quickly. Just so that just so people are aware. When it comes to certain limitations with Teams, of just Microsoft Teams itself, what the limits and specifications are for that. When it comes to, let's see. When it comes to the number of channels people can make in a team, it includes 200 channels, and this has also included deleted channels as well. So please use those 200 channels accordingly. The number of private channels that can be made per team is 30. And let's see. The number of teams that a user can be a member of, the number of teams a user can be a part of is 1,000. The number of members in a team is 5,000. And then the number of owners per team is 100. I see. And the limitations when it comes to private chats, and this is when we're talking about one-on-one chats, group chats, it's 100 people. But then going back to, let's see, a feature that hopefully comes through is using I didn't go through that part. That's what I wanted to go over. Let me, give me one sec, where is it? Let me see. Oh no, I can't find it. Oh no. It was Teams, and let's go to tags. Where is it? I made this team. So when I click on the motor options or right click on the team, the Awesome People team, the one that I made, I click on manage tags, and that's going to prompt me this window where I'm able to create a tag. Right now, as you can see, I created a finance tag and then I created a retail tag. But let's say, for instance, if I wanted to create a gov tag, and I'm going to add Marvin Oops. No, it's because Martin was in there. Why isn't it showing people? Oh, it's because I didn't add people to that. I only added that. I only added Shane per se. But this would be me creating a gov tag with 2 people in it. When I create that, it's going to then create a list with the amount of people that are part of that, and then who is a part of this. So then, for instance, oh, I accidentally did that as the ad. Oops. I only wanted to call it the name. But if I do, if I go to the general and then I do that same tag, like if I do retail, it's going to see there's one person tagged with this. So then I do that, or per se, if I wanted to mention the finance people, the finance team, there's 2 people in this. So when I hit enter and hit enter again, because I'm a part of this tag, it's going to show it to me as a mention like that. Before I forgot what tags are, but reminder that we have 4 minutes left of this session before we conclude.
John, I think there was one still question that maybe we could address.
Go for it. What's up?
If I was added to a specific team, am I able to initiate a meeting within that team on my own?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. You said initiate a meeting with what?
If I'm added to a specific team, am I able to initiate a meeting within that team on my own?
Yes. Let's see. When we go over to a channel, let's say if I'm in the COVID channel and I wanted to meet now, I would hit this camera option right here. It would be a meet now option, but be cautious that when you do click on this button, it will ping every single person that's a part of this channel. From here is where I'm able to turn my camera on or off. I'm able to label this call as with a subject, or I could schedule a meeting from there as well, but it will be placed in this channel. So if I said test meeting for COVID. So when I do that, I set it for 11:30. When I hit send, because I now scheduled the meeting instead, it creates now a little purple indication right here. And then when I click on this, it will then allow me to join that meeting from here.
Awesome. I think they might have also been wondering about when you put a meeting on a channel as well, right? If
Yep.
just a regular member could do that as opposed to the owner.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Be aware also for anyone when it comes to meetings, I believe that option can also be turned off. That permission could be turned off by the owner. If owners could only be able to create meetings as well. But that's going to conclude this session for today. I do appreciate everyone for joining this session. And I thank you again to Shane and Roxy for monitoring the Q&A for today. Hope everyone enjoys their Monday.
Thanks, John. Great time. Thank you.